Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Pivot and Prosper. I'm your host, Joe Nahay with LFG Business Group. This is a podcast where we speak with entrepreneurs, business owners, and C-suite executives in the marketing industry to hear about their stories of growth with relentless perseverance. Today, I have the joy of introducing Nishat Jones from Houston, Texas. She's the founder and fractional CMO of Strati8. She leverages her 25 years of B2B marketing experience to align marketing goals with overall business strategy. Nisha, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me here today. I'm excited for our conversation.
Thank you, Joe. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, let's kind of get kicked off here on the first key one to hear about you. What do you do, fractional CMO, right? So tell me about your current role, what problem your business solves, and what kind of makes you unique as the solution.
Fantastic. So I formed Strati8 just a few months back. It's been about 6 months. And my business is focused on, as you mentioned earlier, on aligning marketing with business strategy. What I find is that many organizations don't do that very well. They tend to silo marketing. So I am focused on that alignment and growth. With that, then on the execution of the marketing strategy, my focus is really on the brand and the digital. So brand can generate ROI, as can digital, ensuring that both of them are done cohesively and, you get the growth opportunities out of it, but then also the EBITDA and the revenue that most organizations are looking for.
I love it. I love it. And we talked earlier before I pressed record too about, the struggles in B2B and connecting, the finance with the CEO and all these and how marketers can really tie that all together. What have you found has been unique in the companies that you've worked with when it comes to, these, you mentioned that they're lacking that marketing arm right there, but do you feel like they have something decent going at the forefront, or this totally needs a new revamp with foundation?
Typically, they'll reach out to me when they need a revamp and they've got some problems and they're trying to solve those. There's not marketing and sales alignment, or their website's terrible, or they don't have a good market strategy. So they're coming with what I like to say is some of the tactical issues. And I always like to dive a little deeper and say, okay, let's look at your business goals. Let's look at where you're at today. What can we do to then align the marketing strategy with that and work through these tactical components to ensure you're driving growth and revenue again?
Understood. I love it. And B2B is a difficult one. We were talking about this before. In B2B in corporate life, right? I love B2C, the psychology behind it there. But still, what would you say has been the biggest surprise while operating as a business owner, doing what you do now in the last 6 months? And if you were to, I don't know, maybe turn back time and do something a little bit differently or whatever it may be, what would you do then if it were to happen again?
So I have to go back to the misalignment of the strategies, which are causing a lot of silos. And it's not just between marketing and the business strategy. It's across the entire organization. So I find that misalignment really drives silos, and it also, you're not using your resources very well. So I really like to work through that. That could change things, honestly. I probably have done this earlier in my life. It was a big risk that I took to leave corporate America with a stable paycheck, anyone, every 2 weeks or the 1st and the 15th of the month.
Mm-hmm.
I really would have done this earlier. I absolutely love what I'm doing, working with multiple business owners, really solving strategic problems, forcing some of that alignment. It's just exciting to work in so many different industries and with so many different organizations and different mindsets also.
Yeah. Talk to me about this here. When coming into a new company, let's say and I've seen this too and hear about it, there are C-level executive folks and roles, and whether it be C-level or VP, and they've been in that company for years and years. You come in and they go, oh boy, they're going to disrupt this here. We have a process, or maybe the phrase, that's not how we've done it before, the deal. How do you navigate around that comment? You're bringing something fresh and new to the company. Revamp.
So a lot of times, Joe, that with being the new person on the block and having processes that have been in place, I have to be able to prove myself, and I find that that's in every organization. You'll always find people like that. So My approach is very collaborative. I'm going to talk through things. I'm going to do things openly, not in a silo. And so I find that collaboration, first and foremost, is key. Communicate and collaborate. Those are really two key things to be successful in life and in my career for sure. But then I'll break down those processes and say, if we look at it from this perspective, would you be open to recognizing that if we did this or did that differently, this could change the outcome and we would have a better outcome. Sometimes it's not just scrapping what they have, but working through it and going piece by piece and seeing if you can get them to agree with you on certain areas. If they do not want to work with you and don't want to listen to what you have to say and feel like you're still a new person that doesn't understand the industry or the process, it just takes proving yourself. You do have to go, you have to go outside what that person is doing and show them that there's different ways of doing things and you can improve efficiencies and maybe even remove redundancies.
I love it. Communicate and collaborate. That's two words. Yes, they go well together, and when done properly, it's amazing what the results can be, right? So
Right.
kind of pivoting off of that and even using that as an example, what would you say are some key skills or bits of knowledge that are most important for success in this industry in the next few years?
So the first one I would have to say is data literacy. It's
Mm,
going to become more and more essential as decision making continues to shift to the data driven insights. So I focus a lot on data driven insights, but if you don't have that data literacy, it's really a mess, especially in marketing. Data drives a lot of decisions, and you need to be very literate in that area. The second one I would highlight is definitely the expertise in AI. We can't have a conversation too without talking about AI, unfortunately. Good, bad, and different, it's here to stay. It's
mm,
been here for a long time. AI is artificial intelligence. It's just data. Again, everything goes back to that data. So you want to make sure that you're utilizing AI, but keeping things authentic. So use that human touch. Make sure you check what you're doing, whether it's an image, whether it's content, whatever it may be. But I feel like if you don't understand AI, at least at a baseline level, you'll get left behind. And last but not least, I think adaptability will be huge. Things are shifting in the marketplace, industries are changing. You really have to be able to be flexible, be able to pivot and make changes, and utilize the data and insights. You have to be able to do that. So you can leverage all your resources and your technology.
I love it. I love it. And I do a lot of work with CRO, conversion rate optimization, and the data is the key point. As many times as I've heard, why do we need to change this and this? I don't like the look of this. But which converts? Like, do you want to make more money on this side? This is where split testing comes into place, right? Let's go off the
Right,
data. But what are people
right.
telling you, right? The surveys, exactly, right? Well, I don't agree with this here. I hear all the time, well, you're the people who want to buy are screaming it. So let's talk about that. Agreed. The data is huge, right? And analytics in a world where we have far more tools, AI tools to discover those analytics and to pivot from those faster than we would with, geez, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, et cetera. I think capitalizing on those and showing those to our clients and to the C-level leaders is they look at that and, okay, this 1 + 1 = 2. I see it now. All right. It's not just a fantasy. Yeah. Think about a critical decision you made that was a turning point for your life or your business specific. If you had chosen differently, where do you think you and your business would be today?
So the reason I mentioned this is just like ago, it's the biggest critical decision turning point that I made was to leave corporate America and start my own firm. So as an entrepreneur, solopreneur, that was a big turning point. Going from something that was very stable to something where there's a lot of unknowns. I have a lot of confidence in my abilities and my skill set. What I've done over 25 years have been very, very successful. And so I thought this was a great time for me to start my own firm and focus on helping other companies rather than just one at a time. It was great to be able to make this pivot and be able to work with multiple clients and really help them with their business and marketing strategy.
I love it. And how many typical clients do you take on? I mean, did you, 2 a month, 3 a month? Like what is capped out for you where you go, hey, look, I need to I'm going to focus my time and be dedicated to each one, but anything past this is too much?
It's a great question. I'm still figuring that out
Yeah,
myself.
yeah, me too.
Going from working 80 to 100 hours a week to now trying to back that off to 60 hours a week. It's an interesting but great dynamic with the flexibility. I would say when I'm balancing my client base out, there's two types of clients I have. Some of them are project consultative basis. So I may be coming in and helping them with one area of their business, specifically focused on marketing. So those engagements will last approximately 3 months. Whereas the fractional CMO, that's actually is an extension of your executive team. Really, you see them as an outsourced to get in-house team member. So while I'm not on the day-to-day calls and doing a lot of the daily meetings, I'm focusing more on the strategy. So you're dedicating 10 to 12 hours a week for each of those clients. So in a perfect world, I would have 3 fractional CMO clients and then 1 or 2 project consultative, and still be able to keep a good balance as well as give the time that's needed to each of my clients.
I love it. The phrase I love using is, I left my 9 to 5 to work 24/7, right? Hey, but it's true. I mean, and I mean, from our discussion before I pressed record, even through these now 11 minutes or so, it sounds like we both love what we do, right? So whether I'm up at 6 a.m. and going till 2 a.m., for example, right now, I mean, it may happen like once a month or so, but I'm enjoying it. I'm not doing it because it's painstaking and I hate it. We love what we do and provide. And you said a key word there. It's one of my favorite: helping. Right? We're not in this to send an invoice. We're in this to help, and
Right.
the results are, by helping so much and providing that value. Well, the results are prosperous, if you will. But I love that.
Absolutely.
That all. I vibe with all of that. That it makes perfect sense. Now, other than AI, or maybe if you do want to talk about AI, looking into the future, what would you say are some emerging trends that you believe will redefine the industry in the next 10 years? Maybe specific to B2B or not, or even business ownership.
Yeah, there's quite a few trends that I think will evolve. One is privacy and data security, which
Mm,
again it goes back to that data. It's gonna shape the digital marketing process. So we see a lot of cybersecurity. We're seeing AI, but you're also seeing a lot of copycats and things that are not authentic. So I really think privacy and data security is going to continue to ramp up more than it already has compared to 10 years ago, if not 20 years ago. So that's one area that I'm seeing. The rise of visual search and SEO. That's another one. You keep hearing a lot about SEO and different trends in SEO. And is it real? Is it not real? Does it generate revenue? Does it bring value? I mean, you can use all these different phrases. I really think that that's going to continually change and evolve. And then AI, back to that that word.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I think that that's going to continue to it's going to dominate really in customer service. So when you type marketing communications, customer service together, which I've done quite a bit in my career, I think we're going to see that where you're going to see a lot more of the customer service and content will be AI driven. That doesn't mean that we're all getting eliminated. So don't worry about your jobs, but make sure you're authentic about them. So those trends, I believe, will continue to just develop and further change the dynamic for marketing.
mm, I love it. I love it. Another piece here I wanted to kind of discuss as well. We talked about it earlier: B2B versus B2C, right? I love B2C, but with B2B, as I always thought was a struggle, was connecting with the right person in that company, the decision maker, and that decision maker or has to potentially get it approved through all these different methods of, gosh, geez, bureaucratic, this, that, politics. I have a handshake with this guy 20 years ago that I can't leave, even though he's not bringing us value. Oh, it goes all over the place, right? Um, what have you seen as a a difficult area of converting or connecting with the right people in a business for the businesses that you're helping, to whether it be the decision maker or the person who will, in my mind, it's you're there to help them look good to the decision maker, right? And they want to prop you up. Um, it's finding that right person to talk to. Talk to me about like the dynamic or mindset behind who your audience is in that business and how you connect with them?
So that's a great question, Joe, because it's definitely evolved. So when I started my career 25 years ago, there was a decision maker, and that person signed on the dotted line, and they were who you worked with. They were your champion out of your organization. I've seen that change, and it was 3 or 4, and then it was 6 or 8. Now I'm seeing anywhere from 10 to 12 decision makers in a room. And it's not just one person. So you can't just have one champion, because people, as we know, with the changes in dynamics post COVID, and the Great American Resignation and all these things that we've had that have happened over time, if that champion leaves, then you don't have a relationship there anymore. You're starting all over again. So what I found is very critical, and I work with my clients on, is that make sure you've got champions in each of your organizations and your clients' organizations, in operations, in finance, in marketing, in purchasing. Don't pigeonhole and say, oh, we have to go directly to purchasing because they make the decision. Well, that's not true. It doesn't work very well anymore to have just that. Frankly, I literally had a call with a prospect that I'm working through last week, and there were 6 decision makers in the room. So I had to make sure that each one of them was satisfied with my pitch, and that they understood what value I would bring to the organization with my skill set. So you really have to know who your audience is and who makes the decisions. And it's typically not one person, which makes it 10 times more challenging. But well, it works. And that's how you have that solutions-based sell, as we like to call it in B2B. It's not the tactical, right? The transactional. It's not based on price or one person. It's typically solution based. And those relationships last much longer than something that's just based on price.
I get it. That reminds me of, when, in my corporate life, of finding a vendor, right? The common triangle of what quality, speed, price, and then knowing your audience in there. So the messaging, why does someone want to work or pay a vendor or a fractional CMO? Well, you're solving a problem. Okay, on each division, it's a different problem, right?
Right.
Product development may say, well, we need a higher quality, this, and this. Money doesn't matter, right? Whatever, who cares? Finance, whoa, the money, got to look at this. We can save you, or accounting, right? We can save you this amount of money. Finance, we can make you this much more money, right? CEO, you will have more brand recognition to grow your revenue top line for ABC. Your bottom line ends up being the margins, goes on and on, right? It's hitting all those components at once, trying to make everyone happy.
Absolutely. You have to make sure your entire audience buys into your message. If not, it's a much harder sale these days.
Agreed. It's a, as I mentioned, I love B2C, but B2B is a tough one. Hats off to you on that. I know how difficult it is. Going on to one of my favorite questions here, this hypothetical about, let's paint a picture, right? Let's say you're homeless. Hope it never happens, right? But let's just say you are, and you're going to be rewarded a new home or something like that, something of high value, if you can collect $100 on a corner in 2 hours time, and the only tools you have is a marker and a piece of cardboard. What are you writing on your sign?
That's a great question. I think I would have to, first of all, it's going to be bold print. So I'm very limited, as we all know. Less is more, but I think I would have to put something like get $1 or $1 and see if I can get some attention. I'd have to have something super creative, just, that would be attention grabbing, not homeless or hungry, need food, please help. I have to think about that for a little longer, but I would have to have something super creative that would entice them to want to donate that $1 to me, if not $100.
Right? Yeah. I keep thinking in my head, Yeah, funny one, but whatever I wrote down, if it were in a Helvetica font or something, I'd be like, oh, they know not sans serif to use sans on something like this, and I can read it. I'm giving them a buck. They got it dialed in, right? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a tough one, right? I think there's a few books that were talked about this too, of what makes somebody want to give in an emotional state, right? There's emotion down to logic, etc. Um, Someone mentioned before there's a study on why people say no. And I think one of the best signs was if not today, I'll be here next month. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Where folks are, you're going to go to that intersection again, and people think, but if I were to say, hey, this is my last, can you help me buy my last meal before, hypothetically, right, I pass away, right? Well,
Right.
sure, I want to give to you, but if it's a,
Right. It's
oh,
the empathetic
yeah,
approach, which, have been potentially learned for sure. No, I have to agree with you on that, that taking that empathetic approach of this is it, this is all I have.
yeah, I love it. I love it. One more question here about B2B, because I'm so intrigued with it and hearing different philosophy behind it. Um, keeping, you're working with a company, and they do B2B, and they have a company they're on retainer with, or whatever it may be. They have a contract with for 12 months or 2 years, whatever. How does that company keep a strong relationship with their clients? What do you think are the key ways to go about doing that, other than sending a whole bunch of chocolates on certain holidays and stuff like that? What are methods that stand out with relationship retention?
They're really with the clients to avoid churn. Is that what you're asking?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So I find that many organizations are not customer centric. So you will hear, oh yeah, we're customer centric. We care about our customers. We do this, we do that. Where the rubber meets the road is when in every single meeting, your customers are on the agenda. So that's one of the questions I ask when I'm working with the prospects. I say, do you consider yourself to be a customer centric organization? Yeah, absolutely. We value our customers. We love our customers. Okay, so can at one of your last meeting agendas? Sure. Where's customers on there? What's like your tech stack? Why did you select this software? Does that help something? Does that help accomplish a problem for your customers? Something I probably should have mentioned at the very beginning of this was my focus is customer centricity.
I
So
love
I
it.
think as authentic as you can be with your customers and ensure that you are always touching them, not with gifts, and that you are asking them, how are you doing, getting the feedback and acting on that feedback. And even if it's always great feedback, just keep in touch with their constant communication, but make sure and ask them, what are things happening in your industry? If you don't know, ask. And, how can we make that easier for you? Is our billing process work for you? Does our invoicing work for you? Does our communications, your outreach for sales? Ask those questions. Do your QBRs. Make sure you're doing a quarterly business review. Talk to your customers. Don't just send them surveys. We all have survey fatigue. So
Yep.
I think it really is essential that you have to focus on the customer, hear your customer, listen to them, and then be flexible to make change based on that.
I love it. Good. Said it very well there. And then that kind of aligns with a quote that my mentor told me years ago: customer service is not a department. It should be the whole company. How they talk with
Yes,
people, how they relate with people, all day, but it should be part of every meeting, part of every discussion. Are we doing what's best for our current clientele and for what our future clientele is?
absolutely.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
Great words of wisdom from you. I really appreciate your time in speaking with me here today. I will put your website below in the link in the description as well as the URL to your LinkedIn for people who want to follow and connect with you. But hey, this has been, again, Nishat, this has been fantastic in speaking with you. I really appreciate your time again. And well, I look forward to connecting with you in the future.
Sounds great, Joe. Thank you again for the opportunity and definitely look forward to keeping in touch.
All right. Thank you.